Um, I taught in some summer programs through some, it was a federal program, Title I, and it was for assisting kids, particularly who were behind and who were minority. And it's called ESEA, Elementary and Secondary Education Act, Title I. And that was a really good thing. They identified students for summer school, invited them to come. It wasn't mandatory. But from about third grade through the eighth grade, and white and black students came. And so I taught. I actually was the director and a teacher in the program. And I had a chance to actually teach some of the younger children that I hadn't been exposed to in high school. And I had particularly the middle school age kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And there were a larger number there than in the high school where I'd been teaching. But those summer programs were an eye-opener, and I think very good for the integration of the schools. But you had a lot of students who were coming to the schools for the first time in the summers to the white schools, a lot of black students who were coming, and getting a real positive exposure. And the programs were well designed. The academics were there as a core of that, but there were field trips planned and games played, and it was a good, enriching experience for kids, as well as one that tried to get to the academics, mainly concentrating on math and reading. And but places that it was so gratifying to see those students for the first time go to Boone, North Carolina, or to Asheville, or to the beach. We even took some students to the beach. Many of them, white and black, which disadvantaged students particularly, who'd never much been out of Cabarrus County, as strange as that may seem. And it gave the students an opportunity to interact, black and white, together in those summer programs, so that they saw that there were far more similarities and differences. So I think the summer programs made a huge difference, and those occurred in the Cabarrus County. There were three school systems at the time: Cabarrus County Schools, Concord, and Kannapolis. And those programs occurred in all the school systems. It's a major federal effort that I thought was well spent tax monies, and did a lot, I think, to assist the schools and the students adjust to integration. I remember, and this, I'm backing up just a little bit, when I was a student in high school, in my senior English class, we were writing papers, and one was supposed to be on current events, and this was at the time that in Little Rock, Arkansas, you know about that, about President Eisenhower had sent in federal troops to force the integration of a high school there. A sad period in the history of the country, but I was very proud of the president and the nation in standing up to that. But so that was a current issue. So I wrote on that, and in that, and I wish so many times I could find that paper that I've written somewhere. It may be somewhere in my storage area, or my mother may have thrown it out with my baseball cards. You know, that's what mothers do. You know? But I had said in there, and I'm proud of having done that. I was 17 years old, that schools should be integrated. And I saw no reason, that it would be difficult, but there needed to be a plan to be developed. And one possible plan that I suggested, naively, but I was thinking in the right direction, was for it to go peacefully, perhaps what we need to do is to begin in the first grade. There's no kindergarten then, and begin to integrate one grade each year. That probably would have been easier to do, but it would have been, there's some real fallacy there too. You know, it would have taken a dozen years, and that's way too long to wait. But I've often been proud of the fact that that I could see that needed to be done. And not only me, I'm not just spotlighting, I think a lot of my friends felt the same way. You know, there was some real injustice here that we didn't even know about. And that's really sad, you know, until it comes to your attention from the television, from Little Rock, or from the drugstore counters in Greensboro, or from Montgomery, Alabama. You know, and it had all been under the surface for us. But the 60s, the 50s and the 60s brought huge change, as you know. And actually the year that I started teaching was the year that the civil rights legislation was passed. And John Kennedy and his brother Robert and Lyndon Johnson played huge roles, of course, bringing that about. The sad thing about it, though, is the practice of true integration came very much longer than the act being passed. You know, it's taken us a long time to do this, but it's been successful over the years. It's been tragic sometimes, but it's been successful. I'm very proud of the country for doing it. I know we still have a lot of it left to be done, but we've come a long way in this country in civil rights, and we should have come sooner, but we've come a long way. And here we are with a black president, which is, I think, a terrific thing. You know, not so much judged on his color, whether that be white or black or whatever, but on his competence. So we've come a long way in the course of my lifetime, and I'm very proud of the part that I had as an educator in helping to bring that about in some very small way. But if we take a lot of small ways, particularly in this area, then we can make a big